Right. So you know how everyone was all over that crazy picture on X a few days ago?
Hmm.
The one with the owl
Oh, yeah.
hiding in the trees?
Right. The one from March 25th.
Like, everybody and their grandma was trying to find that owl.
I know, it was everywhere.
It was like, where's Waldo, but with an owl?
Totally. And you know what's so fascinating about that kind of thing?
Right.
It shows us so much about how our brains work, like how we see things, how we think.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a simple image, but it totally messes with you.
Right.
And so that's what we're going to get into today, like the whole psychology behind why those visual puzzles grab us.
Yeah.
And we've got like the perfect guide for this.
Okay, tell me.
It's a book that none other than Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, recommends.
Oh, wow. So it must be good.
Yeah, it's called Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, so basically what we're going to do is look at how our brains deal with these challenges, especially in like the crazy world of tech and online stuff we've got going on in 2025.
Oh, I like a deep dive into the brain.
Exactly. And I know you're all about this stuff. Like, remember when we talked about that parrot puzzle back in episode 23?
Oh, yeah, that was a fun one.
And, you're always on top of the latest digital trends, like all that stuff we talked about in episode 28 with the digital circus.
An amazing digital circus, yes.
Yeah, so this is like right up your alley. So so let's crack open this book, Thinking Fast and Slow. That's the big idea here.
Well, the core concept is that we actually have two ways of thinking, two systems that run our brains.
Two systems.
Yeah, Kahneman calls them System 1 and System 2.
Okay, so system 1, that's like...
System 1 is the fast one.
Yeah.
You know, it's intuitive, it's emotional, it's kind of like autopilot, it just happens.
So like if you see a stop sign, to see it.
Or like when you hear a song, and you just know the words without even thinking.
Right, it's like instant.
Boom, just like that.
Gotcha. So then system 2, that's got to be the slower one.
Yeah, System 2 is the thinker, the one that takes effort. It's more deliberate and logical.
So that's when you're really trying to solve a tough problem.
Absolutely, or you're making a big decision, weighing the pros and cons.
Like if you're trying to find that owl.
Exactly, you're really focusing.
Gotcha. So one's like the quick reaction, the other one's like the deep thought.
Yeah, you got it.
But Kahneman doesn't just like tell us about these two systems. He gives us all these examples, right?
Oh, tons of them, and they're really fascinating. He uses optical illusions, the ones that trick your eyes.
Yeah.
And also like how we're actually really bad at figuring out probabilities, like chances of things happening.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we make a lot of mistakes there, and all these examples, they show us how we can get fooled by our own thinking, especially when we rely too much on that fast System 1.
And sometimes we need that slower, more careful System 2.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's go back to that owl picture for a second. So when I first saw it, and I couldn't find the owl right away, I felt kind of like frustrated, like I should be able to see it. What did this book say about that feeling?
Well, there's a really interesting chapter called The Illusion of Validity.
Illusion of validity.
Yeah, and it talks about how our System 1 brain is always looking for patterns, trying to make sense of things.
Right.
So when you see a picture like that, your brain's like, okay, tree's got to find an owl. It's looking for the owl pattern.
Right.
But when it doesn't see it right away, it gets kind of confused. And that's where that frustration comes in.
Oh, interesting. So it's like my brain is expecting something to be there.
Exactly. And when it's not, it's like, wait a minute, something's wrong.
Yeah, like I've been tricked.
And then there's another chapter called The Engine of Capitalism, which is really about overconfidence.
Overconfidence.
Yeah, like we tend to think we're better at things than we actually are, including seeing things.
Oh, yeah, I totally do that.
So when we can't find that owl, it kind of hurts our ego a little bit. Like, oh, come on, I should be able to see this.
Exactly. So it becomes like a challenge.
Yes. You want to prove yourself wrong? You want to find that owl?
So all this stuff from the book, it really helps explain why these simple pictures can become like these huge online things, right?
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. We're living in this super visual digital world right now.
Yeah, it's all about the images and videos.
And these puzzles, they tap into that craving we have for instant recognition. That's our System 1 at work.
Right.
But then when we can't find the thing right away, our System 2 kicks in and we get really focused and determined.
Like, I got to solve this.
Exactly. And then there's the social aspect, sharing the puzzle with your friends, seeing if they can solve it.
Yeah, it's like a competition.
And all of that contributes to why these things go viral.
Okay, so we've got the brain science down now. How does this connect to like the bigger picture of technology and the internet in 2025?
Well, one big trend we're seeing is the rise of interactive content.
Interactive content.
Yeah, stuff that people can participate in, not just passively watch.
Right.
And this owl challenge is a perfect example. It's user-generated content.
User-generated content. So
Okay.
it's like coming from the people,
Exactly, and brands are really catching on to this, they're
Mm.
realizing that people love to be involved.
Yeah, it's more engaging.
And actually, studies show that about 15.5% of brands are now prioritizing user-generated content in their social media strategies.
Oh, wow, so it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big shift.
So how can businesses use this stuff that Kahneman talks about to make their tech better, like more engaging for people?
Well, they can use these principles to design experiences that really grab people's attention.
Give me an example.
Like, remember those AR animal overlays that Google came out with in 2024?
Oh, yeah, you could like see a lion in your living room.
Exactly. It was like a game. It made searching fun. And that's tapping into our system one that loves novelty and excitement.
Yeah, it's cool.
And you can imagine how a feature like that could really boost the time people spend on a platform, maybe even by like 20%.
Wow, 20%, that's huge.
It's about making things interactive and playful.
Yeah.
But there's a cat. Kahneman also talks about this thing called cognitive overload.
Cognitive overload.
Yeah, it's basically when our system two gets overwhelmed by too much information, too many demands.
So like if you're trying to do a million things at once.
Exactly. And even though these engaging trends are great, we have to be careful not to overdo it.
Right.
If everything is screaming for our attention all the time, it can actually become annoying.
Like that boy who cried wolf kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And we're seeing this happening now in 2025 with all these breaking news notifications.
Oh, yeah, on TikTok, it's like every other video is breaking news.
Right, and it starts to lose its meaning.
So it's all about balance.
Exactly, finding that sweet spot where you're engaging people but not overwhelming them.
Okay, so let's talk about Sundar Pichai again. Why do you think this book, Thinking Fast and Slow, is so important to him?
Well, I think he understands that to build great technology, you have to understand people,
Makes sense.
like how they think, how they make decisions.
Yeah.
And this book gives you a framework for that. And he's actually been talking about this for years. Yeah, there are reports that he's been encouraging people at Google to use these ideas to improve things like search and AI.
So he wants to make technology that feels more natural for us?
Exactly. Intuitive.
Yeah.
That's the key word. And it ties in perfectly with this trend of interactive content.
Right.
Like Google is investing a lot in AI-powered content discovery, which is all about anticipating what users want and giving it to them in a seamless way.
So it's like the technology is reading our minds.
In a way, yes. And it's appealing to that system one that wants things to be easy and understandable.
And people seem to like this approach, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at the reaction to the Owl Challenge on X.
Everyone was loving it.
It shows that people really enjoy these mental puzzles. They appreciate being challenged.
So that brings us back full circle to the Owl Challenge. It was like the perfect storm, right?
It really was. It had the curiosity, the problem solving, the social sharing, and thinking fast and slow helps us understand why it worked so well.
Yeah, it played on all those little quirks in our brains.
Uh.
And this is all stuff you've been interested in for a while, right? Like the cognitive puzzles and the digital trends.
Oh, absolutely. It's all connected.
Yeah, it's like a big web.
And it's shaping the future of social media. I mean, look at TikTok.
Yeah.
It's all about short, engaging videos, and a lot of that is user-generated content and challenges.
So it's like the Owl Challenge is just one example of this bigger trend.
Yeah, it's the tip of the iceberg.
Okay, so as we wrap up here, what are the big takeaways?
Well, I think the biggest one is that we have these two systems of thinking, and they both play a role in how we experience the world.
Right, the fast one and the slow one.
And understanding how these systems work can help us understand why we get sucked into things like the Owl Challenge.
And how tech companies can design things that really grab our attention.
Exactly. It's all about knowing how our brains work.
Okay, so for everyone listening, here's something to think about. We've seen how easily our brains can be hooked by a hidden owl image. But what about all the other things we see online?
Good question.
Like all the apps and websites and games we use every day.
Yeah.
Are they designed in ways that are subtly influencing our choices and our attention?
It makes you wonder.
And maybe we don't even realize it.
That's the scary part.
So next time you're scrolling through your feed or playing a game, just take a moment to think about how it's designed and how it's affecting you.
Yeah, pay attention to those little nudges and triggers.
Because our brains are pretty amazing, but they can be tricked too.
That's for sure.
So stay curious and stay aware.